Are you pregnant, Fernando?
Am I pregnant? No, but I have to tell you, my sister is pregnant.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, I guess it was exciting. Yes, it was also a shock, but it was it is exciting. Yes.
Uncle Fernando.
Yes, she is now pregnant. I'm going to be Uncle Fernando this year. Yes.
Wow.
Oh, Uncle Fernando.
Oh, you'd be a great uncle.
You're going to be such a good uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I going to be a really good uncle? I mean, I'm not sure if I'm going to even be there when the baby is born. So I think that immediately takes some points away from me.
I think you should make an effort to arrive at the moment of birth in a hot air balloon that just acrobats descend out of and pull you into the hospital.
What an excellent idea. I think I'm going to do that, yes.
Okay.
But I think that we should also start discussing the film because it's 6:01 now.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Oh, God. Okay, we're on it. Oh, we really didn't have time for the long intro, but never mind, we went with it anyway.
I would like to make a prediction, as in, given that I've been analyzing, I guess, statistics of Michael's likes and dislikes of Disney films, I would like to make a prediction at the start. To see if the pattern holds.
Okay.
And my conjecture is that Michael Torpey liked this film.
Yep, and this is because you disliked this film.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Guess the rest of us.
Okay. I'm going to say then. Oh, this is so hard. I'm going to say that you both liked it.
Ooh, that is not what my guess would be.
Oh, what would your guess be?
I think Claire didn't like it.
I did like it.
Oh, well done. Okay. Interesting.
Which means that my guess was correct. Did you also like it, Laura?
No.
Oh. Okay.
Well, sorry. I can say yes if you like.
No, I think the truth is better.
You got 2 out of 3 though, Fernando. That's pretty good going.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yes.
Well, actually, you predicted that I would like this film, and I only half liked it. I'm afraid I didn't have a clear thumbs up or thumbs down for this.
I might be the same.
Okay.
Yeah, there were some things I really liked about it, and some things I didn't. And I found it a confusing film. And I haven't quite settled down on what I think, which is why I think this will be a good discussion. That's partly why I picked it.
Okay. How many times have we
we'll
all
see
seen
by
it?
the end whether I like it.
Okay.
So I saw this film many times as a kid. It was one of the ones we didn't have on video, but we used to get it from the library sometimes. I'd be allowed to pick a video at the library to take back, and I often liked grabbing Pinocchio. So I probably saw it 15 times as a kid. And then once, this is a kid sort of below 9, I'd say. And I saw it once as a teenager when I was maybe 16. And since then I haven't seen it at all.
I think this is my 3rd time watching it.
3rd, okay.
When did you last watch it?
When I was a teenager. I watched it when I was a kid, and then a teenager, and then now.
I think I'm in a similar boat to Michael, which is that I can't remember how many times I watched it, but frequently as a child. As with all the Disney films, we just watched them over and over again. But I don't think I've seen it in a decade or something. I haven't seen it in a long time. Yeah.
Yes. I think
I saw it multiple times as a child. But I don't think I've seen it sort of since sort of 9-ish years old.
Okay.
So certainly, like, not as a teenager or an adult. I don't think.
So this was a new film to none of us, but it sounds like this is a new film to all of us as adults.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the first time we've all seen the film before.
I think it is. That's interesting. And yes, I don't think it helped me untangle this weird film. Did anyone else get that feeling?
That it was weird, definitely.
I never liked it as a child. I don't think.
I also never liked it.
I didn't like it as a kid.
Why did you not like it, Fernando?
Well, I do not know, and I think that now trying to guess why I did not like it as a kid is maybe because it felt like it had different unrelated adventures. It very much reminded me of the novel, the very famous Spanish novel, which I think is called Don Quixote. I'm not sure if I'm saying it correctly.
Don Quixote.
Yeah, that novel. When I read it, I was like, this is just a collection of random stories. And and which is why I did not like that book, even though it is like massively famous. And I think the same thing is repeated here. It's just a collection of random episodes.
Okay.
Plus, there were some things that made me uncomfortable, but there are some things that I know that perhaps also made me uncomfortable as a kid. And there are things that made me uncomfortable now that I think that definitely would not have made me uncomfortable before because maybe I did not notice them.
Okay. Yeah, I think I've got a very similar position to you on that. There were a lot of things there were some things I didn't like as a kid, but there were some things that must have just totally passed me by that I've only now decided I don't like. And that was an odd one. Claire, why did you not like this as a kid?
I found it very unsettling as a kid.
Yeah.
So the sort of the loneliness of Pinocchio, there was something that just sat really badly with me, that he didn't have a home like he had this with Geppetto, but he spent 10 minutes dancing with him and then had breakfast and then left again and went through all these scary situations and didn't have anywhere that was safe. And that I just found that really disturbing. And I know the whole way through, he wants to get back to Geppetto, and that's the point, is that's his dad, and he does see that as home. But yeah, as a child, even now, I still don't see that as comfortable. I don't know. It's really messed up.
Yeah, so it's not just all the bad stuff happening to him, it's the fact that he doesn't quite have anything good that he's hoping for, in your view.
Yeah,
he's just lost.
Yeah, when I try to empathise with him, or sympathise, or whatever the word is, I just feel so terribly unsettled, or I did as a kid.
Okay.
Yeah, I really disliked it as a child. I got more out of it as an adult because I've got more of a sense of self, but I think as a kid it was just too baseless. It was really...
Okay.
I think I was a very simple child, and the garish colour schemes combined with the very dark colour schemes were really I have no interest in this film. Where's the daylight, the brightness? We're in the dark for all of it.
You should just have said something like that. That would have been a lot simpler to articulate.
You just thought it was a boring film?
Yeah, I thought, it was disturbing, and bleak.
Yeah.
But child me translated that into being bored.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. I see what you mean with the colour scheme. It's there are a lot of nighttime scenes where it's all quite warm and cosy. And I think that's partly what I liked as a kid.
Oh, right. I didn't find the colours cozy at all. I found it either garish or too dark and bleak.
Right.
Same with a lot of films.
Definitely a lot of this film was dark and bleak.
Yeah, era are not my favourite.
Okay.
Like Snow White is not my favourite. Peter Pan, although I think that's the silver era. Never mind. Bambi.
You don't like Bambi?
Well, I just find them all a bit too, I don't know, bleak.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
I guess Bambi doesn't really hold up because it's so bright. Very brightly coloured.
It's pretty bleak, though, in content.
It's pretty bleak. Yeah.
Not like this, though.
No, God. This was bad.
Yeah. Okay, so it sounds like we're getting different experiences out of this. When I was little, I remember how much I loved it, and I think it was maybe partly because we didn't have it, and so I would, again and again, I was like, yeah, Pinocchio, we'll get Pinocchio on video. And I was so excited to watch it, and I'd watch it, wide-eyed, loving it. I just remember it feeling so magical and exciting, maybe because of the little boy that comes to life and the fairy and the I remember, and Geppetto's nice, warm, lovely workshop with all his clocks and things. But I also remember whenever I think of watching Pinocchio, I just remember this feeling of terror. Basically, as soon as Honest John comes up, and just everything being so sinister from then on, pretty much just for the rest of the film. Just I liked the first bit, and then the bit after that. I think I was fascinated by it, but I remember it being so shocking and so scary, the way he was sort of humiliated on the stage, and he was duped into doing this, and he was sold into slavery and kidnapped and taken away from his father. It was all so dark and horrible. I can't understand why I enjoyed watching that when I was little. It was just really quite harrowing, but some part of me really did enjoy that. And it sounds like the others, the rest of you, picked up on it, and that put you off.
I think
I think it did me this time.
Yeah. Okay, it does have a good. One of the things that I really like about this film is Honest John and Gideon. I think they're great villains.
Oh, I think they still just creep me out a bit.
Oh, I love them.
What do you like about them?
I think because they're just so bouncy, like chipper. Like a chipper villain. They're just out for what they can get, really.
Yeah.
In fact, my cat is named after Gideon.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
They're quite like artful dodgery.
Yeah.
For me, just like these jovial, fun, doing really terrible things.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. They're more like Fagin for me. The Artful Dodger was just, pinching a few wallets, and really nobody gets that badly hurt. But they were, like kidnapping people and...
Don't you like Fagin?
All this kind of stuff. No. Well, he was... I don't like Fagin.
I love Fagin.
Fagin is good, but there's something sinister about it that I can't entirely enjoy.
Yeah. By no means the most sinister villains of the film, though.
No,
the guy selling the guy, trying to get the children for Pleasure Island was pretty bad.
Yeah,
it was just horrible.
Yeah, that's so messed up.
And that later stuff, I just don't remember it from watching as a child. And I don't know
really?
if that's because I maybe didn't get that far through very often, or just because it was less memorable or something. But yeah, all that stuff on Pleasure Island with them smoking the cigars and playing pool and the whole thing with the whale. I don't remember it at all. I remember it from when I was about 16 watching it and thinking, what is this in it?
I think Pleasure Island's what sticks out from watching it as a child. That's one of the only things I remember about this. Well, not one of the only. I remember quite a lot, but it was really vivid. Like in my mind, they're ripping the pool table and they're like smoking cigars until they're like ill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And again, that's a bad memory for you.
It's I wouldn't call it a good. I didn't think on it fondly. I thought on it like, oh god, so this is really disturbing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't remember the whale?
No, I'd completely forgotten that. Oh, I think Fernando's got a point in what he says about unrelated tales, just these random fragments of stories that it doesn't really have a beginning, middle, and end feel to the story. There's not a sort of sensible arc. There's just they get back and then what? There's a whale and he's eaten Geppetto. Like that, just it feels like a bad dream or something. And I don't know anything about the source material. Has anyone read Pinocchio or know anything else about it?
No,
I've no idea.
I've been told it's as dark or darker than this, but I wonder if that was a collection of short stories and they've sort of tried to shoehorn 3 of them into a film.
Yeah, I don't know. Could be.
It was probably just one. I think I did buy a collection. I think the collection of short stories from which some of Walt Disney's films are based.
Oh, right.
But I never read it, and the book was not very thick. It was actually quite thin, so maybe it was just one short story.
Yeah. Wow. Swiss, isn't it?
I think the author, I can't remember, but maybe the author was Charles Perrault. I do not know.
Okay.
That was one question I had about the film. Was where was it set?
Italy.
Somewhere in Europe.
I was thinking it was Switzerland.
Oh, I don't know how I know this, but it's definitely Italy.
They've all got Italian names.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, it's Stromboli. That's why I know it.
But then
Geppetto and Pinocchio, yeah.
They're all dressed in like what I would say look like Austrian clothes. I feel like it sort of mixed its European stereotypes a bit.
Okay. I think that's maybe why I've gone for Switzerland, because I know that's the only place that's in Italy, but where people act kind of Austrian.
Also, cuckoo clocks were everywhere,
Oh,
weren't they?
yeah, that's probably what I'm doing. Yeah, I've got a massive bloody clockmaker's workshop.
Yeah, so all sat really on... Well, I just couldn't work it out. And then they're basically next to the Alps, I think, but also next to the ocean, where there's a whale.
Oh, yeah, the ocean doesn't sound good for Switzerland, does it?
No.
Maybe it's Lake Geneva.
With his massive whale.
Yeah. Could happen. Maybe it's a land far, far away. Maybe it's not... Maybe even in the source material, it's not even supposed to be in a real place. It's just a fairy tale.
I'm looking up the
universe.
source material now. Sorry. It's set in Tuscany.
Ah. Yeah, all right.
Quite far away from the Alps, isn't it?
No, I think that's next to the Alps, isn't it?
Is it?
Maybe not.
I thought it was a bit further south. Might not be, though.
Certainly in the far north of Italy, but no, maybe not the far, far north.
Oh, wait, I'm thinking the wrong thing. I'm thinking of Umbria, which is further south.
Okay. Yeah, I think Turin is in Tuscany, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Cool.
Well, yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't have. It's not that far north. I've just looked it up. Wikipedia describes it as being in central Italy.
Oh, bloody hell. Tuscany?
Yeah, it's where Florence is.
Oh God, I take it all
desperate
back.
to go to Florence.
Florence is pretty cool.
One
I've
day.
seen it from a train.
Cool. You're the only person who I know who's seen Florence, even from a train.
Ah.
Wait,
Wow.
I've been to Florence.
You've been to Florence? Oh my God! Have you seen the Statue of
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Have you? Oh, that's the only reason I want to go.
Nice.
Okay, well, I think then you should go.
I will.
Oh.
I think when we
Film
go to
club trip
Cannes,
to Florence.
we should go to Florence.
Oh God, I looked up Cannes.
Oh no!
Our hope that it's a bit like the Edinburgh Festival and you just sort of turn up and go along it's a long way off.
Oh no!
It is invitation only, and it's in one venue, and the invitations only go out to like the most famous, most illustrious people in the film industry, and to the point that there was controversy a couple of years ago where several women were turned away for wearing flat shoes instead of high heels. I think this is a long way from anything we're going to get an invite to, but I might try blagging it with an email. We'll see.
Why was that so controversial? And why would refusing women because of their sandals be controversial?
Exactly. Why indeed? It wasn't even sandals, it was just like shoes without 6-inch heels.
It should be illegal, in my opinion.
You tell them.
Even inside. Yeah. Oh, that's a shame. Oh, we were so naive.
Yeah, I was really hoping. Yeah, it's more like the Oscars or something where you can't just sort of go along.
Well, could we turn up in Cannes at the same time and just go celebrity spotting? And we could watch our own films. Maybe they've got a cinema.
What I was thinking was that we should set up like a... I was thinking we should set up our own festival, like a fringe festival, where anybody can come along. We watch alternative films, and we're cool and like
alternative
avant-garde.
Films, like Disney films.
Like Disney films.
The Cant Festival.
Yeah. I like that. That's really good.
That's cool.
Or alternatively, I was thinking I might send them an email just saying like that we've got a film podcast with an unknown number of listeners, and that like we really think it would spice up the thing to as a cool, unusual modification to the normal format to have some ordinary people there.
I'm sure they never get
knows?
emailed with people asking to come along.
I might send it in French as well. That might give us a bonus.
Yeah.
I'll tell them we've all got PhDs.
Use any currency
It'll
you
be
can.
fine.
Any social capital.
I'll report back. Anyway, yeah. So I think we've given the basic introduction to what we felt about Pinocchio, which I think we all found it pretty sort of disturbing and not entirely pleasant. Mm-hmm. What did we like about it, Fernando? Was there anything you liked about this film?
Was there anything I liked about the film? I guess I would have to think a little bit harder than that. I was just thinking of things that I definitely did not like.
Okay. Or maybe you can think while we hear what Claire liked about it.
Well,
if anything.
So pretty much all the good characters I found likeable.
Yeah.
I liked watching Geppetto, and him with his cat and his fish, and it just gave me a warm fuzzy feeling just watching him like in his nice little workshop with them.
Yeah. Figaro was the cutest cat in anything.
That
was a really
cat.
cute kitten.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. What else did I like? The cricket was obviously really cool. Jimmy Cricket. He was like,
Yeah.
It was interesting watching him sort of struggle with his own conscience while trying to be Pinocchio's conscience.
Yeah.
So he was deciding whether to run and tell or to chase Pinocchio or what to do, as well as having to to advise Pinocchio. I thought that was quite cool, and maybe they didn't make enough of that, but I thought that was an interesting thing to watch.
That's a really good point.
I liked the baddies. I thought they were fun. Not the really awful, horrible man in the pub that was selling the kids.
Oh yeah, he was not a comedy baddie, was he?
As boys. But I think he was a good villain. They didn't embellish him too much. It's just like, oh, you don't like him.
Yeah.
That's good, I can do that. It was a bit all over the place in terms of storytelling. I feel like it needed a little bit of downtime somewhere where he wasn't just in imminent danger. But I thought that was interesting. I think the turning them into jackasses, they did quite well at sort of foreshadowing that, and then turned out they were actually turning into donkeys. Thought that was quite a cool trick, and if I didn't know that's what was happening, I'd have found that quite interesting as an idea. I enjoyed some of the animation. It reminded me a lot of the Snowman, a lot of the animation.
How's that?
I don't know. Maybe it's the pastel-y, not like the scenes that were sort of darker and stuff. Certainly it was like with the whale, I felt was not very Disney-ish. It just felt a lot less...
bit more impressionist?
So Disney films I always think of as like really simple lines and simple shapes, and like...
Okay.
There's like, that's Pinocchio's face. But then all the water and stuff I thought was just different somehow, and the whale had like some interesting features. I don't know why it reminded me of the Snowman though.
Yeah, okay.
It's just maybe a bit more subtle animation rather than the in-your-face stuff.
Yeah, I can see that.
Don't know.
What did you like, Michael? Oh, sorry, Claire, were you...
No, that's fine. I think that's all.
What did I like? A lot of the same things. So, yeah, definitely the cute stuff. I thought they really did a good job of. Particularly in a film that was at times so dark, they really needed a bit of cuteness and nice things to see, and comedy and stuff. And that really picked it up. So yeah, even although I found Honest John and his crony Gideon, I found them very sinister and everything. I think part of that is because they're so old-fashioned, and they just feel a bit out of time or something. That's maybe why I don't like them. But yeah, the funny stuff that they were doing, and there really was a lot of funny stuff they were doing. Some subtle stuff you might not have noticed, and that really kept it going. So I don't know if anyone noticed this. Gideon, when he's trying to listen in to what Honest John is hearing, he cleans out Honest John's other ear so he can listen through Honest John's head. That was just a cool idea for a joke. And little things like you could easily miss this, but when Honest John does the therapist bit with Pinocchio. Gideon takes notes, and he gets a pencil out and licks it before he writes, which you don't do that with a pencil, you do that with a pen. And it's just another thing, another point for how all over the place this character is, just how foolish and comical. That was quite good.
I've actually got that note as well about him licking the pencil. Well, why did he do that?
It's good. One bit that I really like is all the romance, mostly with Jiminy Cricket and the sexy toys. That there's a lot of like accidentally touching bums and sort of trying to court clockwork figurines and stuff, which each one of them just made me chuckle. It was quite good. And there was a lot of that, like when some of it's a bit weird as well, with like Pinocchio dancing with the marionettes, and the marionettes are kind of flirting with him.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the position there? Because they're like, he's a marionette as well, but yeah, also he's a child, and also like they're not real. It was all
none of
it
it's
with
real, Michael.
I suppose. But yeah, I liked a lot of that stuff, and I really liked Figaro and Cleo. They were really sweet.
Yeah, they were very sweet characters.
So I guess those are the things I liked.
Just let me know when we're ready for symbolism.
Well, we've not heard what Fernando liked about it yet.
I forgot. I hadn't decided.
I've decided that the only thing that I like is Lampwick, the boy that he befriends on his way to
classically likable
Pleasure Island. And I think I like him because he seems to me like genuinely happy, and he is living his life how he wants to live it. Only later does he learn that he is making mistakes, and he does learn from those mistakes. But he is, to me, the happiest character in the film.
He learns from his mistakes by being made a donkey.
Well, we all learn from our mistakes by sometimes, and most of the time, I think we're just making, from committing the mistake instead of learning from theory, I guess, and never making it.
Probably true.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Do you think he regretted his behaviour in the end?
Yes.
Do you think they were able to remember that they weren't donkeys?
Oh God!
No, probably they did know that they were human ones, and this might be reflected in the fact that they seemed quite anxious once they were donkeys.
But they were in a frightening place.
Yeah.
They were in a fighting place.
Frightening place.
Frightening. Well, they did not seem to think that it was that frightening when they were kids. So I think they were just frightened because they were donkeys.
Yeah, okay. The kids that could still just about talk were also frightened, weren't they?
Yes.
They were quite close together with the ones that couldn't talk, and they seemed to be acting the same. That made me think that they were still aware of everything, but just unable to speak and do anything.
Yes.
More selling into slavery, unfortunately. Very, very distressing.
I think Laura's been ready for symbolism for a little while.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Ooh.
Brilliant. Symbolism.
So, but does anyone have any symbolism?
I've got a couple.
Okay.
Why don't
What's
you go
yours
first,
about?
though, Laura?
Oh, okay. Mostly about Stromboli. And villains. And the way that they tried to craft his particular villainy in his kind of, I thought, very gendered and they just threw questions upon his masculinity and his heteronormativity as well. But yeah, are yours any similar, or what one do you get?
Oh, brilliant! No, I'm miles off.
Yeah, I had none of this.
They question his heteronormativity.
Well, I think because there's several times where he's doing things that are very, very flamboyant, like when he's on stage and like he uses a lot of very exaggerated gestures. He wears very bright, lurid colours. He's very tempestuous. And if you remember, he dances in a very overtly kind of sexual way. At one point, he's like raising his arm and looking over his shoulder and like suggestively gyrating. And this is at the same time when he's talking about his plans about Pinocchio, who's now enslaved. So they're kind of juxtaposing these, or I thought, these very exaggerated kind of feminine movements with his treatment of Pinocchio. But at the same time, he's very, very masculine because he's got these huge hands and a deep voice and all his facial hair. So they're kind of just layering all these weird gender fluidity stuff with his like villainy. And that's what I thought.
Wow. I didn't get that at all, but that's really interesting.
I might be reading too much into that.
Is that an artifact of the time that gender fluidity was suspicious and frowned upon, and so the villain had those characteristics? Yeah.
Because if you look at the next villain, which is Captain Hook, who is incredibly like they're definitely trying to like sew his villainy with like, you know, he's very flamboyant and camp and like definitely coded as like homosexual essentially.
Yeah.
But for Captain Hook, it's
Smee, yeah.
with Captain Hook, that's a comical thing, whereas would it be fair to say Stromboli? It was quite a menacing thing.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So this is like all about Eve then. The baddie in that's the guy at the end who blackmails Eve.
Oh yeah.
I think we established that he was coded as gay, and what must surely be the sort of sexist writing of the time. No, not sexist, but homophobic writing of the time. Used that as a part of why he was a dislikable character. So maybe it's a similar thing for Stromboli.
I think so, yeah. I think you could make those comparisons.
I'd have to see it again, but good spot.
Thank you. I don't know if I'm right, but there's something that Disney definitely do weird things with gender and like their villains.
Yeah.
So I was like kind of watching out for it and seeing how they like portrayed their main villains. I don't know about the other ones. Yeah, I don't know about the other ones. I guess like Gideon and Honest John have a weird relationship. But I don't want to go too far. I was really only focusing on. No, I don't want to read into like. They did have a strange kind of intimacy though. But anyway,
Honest John did have a certain femininity to him, didn't he? Again, he was very. So. I don't know if this is just cartoon characters, but he was a dandy, wasn't he? With his tall top hat and his cane and the way he strode around like he owned the place. It was, a little sort of vain or effeminate or something. Yeah. The stuff I've got written down has nothing to do with any of that.
I think race as well. It should probably. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go on.
Oh no, go for it.
Oh, race is an interesting one. Did you have any thoughts on race?
I just thought they racialized Stromboli because he's known to be like a gypsy. So they're probably like doing them both together, where they're like, I think Honest John even calls him a gypsy and like a fat old faker or something, which is kind of like weaving his race and kind of this idea that he's immoral and untrustworthy and things. And then of course he goes on to be like hugely violent and aggressive and bursting into Italian and things like that.
Yeah, it's definitely there's a distrust of travelling foreigners, isn't there? Yeah, interesting. I had a question, which was: Is Jiminy Cricket black?
Ooh.
I was trying to pick up on the way he was talking. It was I think it was a dialect that doesn't really exist anymore. You don't hear. I think it's an old-fashioned way of talking, but I think that was maybe a black actor with a black dialect, or have I got that wrong?
Was it a black actor? I don't know who played him, so I don't.
Well, that's something we could look up at least. Whether his dialect was sort of meant to be black was another thing.
Wow.
Because if so, that would be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Because I think of black characters in films like that at the time, and the only one I can think of that stands out would be like the crows in Dumbo, which have been...
Yeah.
Yeah, you could certainly view them as a sort of negative stereotype, whereas Jiminy Cricket is quite a positive character. And I'd like to think, that would be good. They had, the lead sort of decent character everyone's rooting for be obviously portrayed as black, but no, maybe not. Anyway, I didn't actually write that one down. What do I have? Oh yeah, so Jiminy Cricket was Pinocchio's conscience, and I thought it was really interesting the way that possibly twice in the film he decides to abandon Pinocchio, and he says, "Well, I think the first time it's right, you make your own damn mistakes, I don't care," and the second time it was, "Oh, I guess he doesn't need me anymore. That's sad, isn't it?" And both times he leaves Pinocchio alone. I think that's meant to be Pinocchio's conscience leaving him, right?
Oh, yeah. That's good.
He's not
really
just a cricket.
That.
He really is Pinocchio's conscience at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that counts as symbolism because they literally say you are his conscience. But it made me think of the movie Inside Out, which Fernando hates.
Do you?
Yes, I don't know, but not Bacon. Yeah, in fact, I know Bacon, yes.
We established at some point that every Disney film I like, Fernando dislikes, and that I dislike, Fernando likes.
My God, if we had time, I'd go through every single Disney film to see how that works out. But yeah.
It was pretty astounding, the amount of correlation on these. I haven't quite figured out why that is. But yeah, it made me think of Inside Out, which of course is about this girl with the 5 characters acting as what's going on in her mind, sort of symbolizing what's going on in her head. And it was interesting having that same concept here with Jiminy Cricket being his conscience and actually being a part of his character that's given form as a character. And some of the stuff, I think Claire mentioned a couple of interesting things. I can't remember what now. But it was definitely interesting about with Jiminy Cricket being his conscience.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting watching Jiminy Cricket being himself as well as being Pinocchio's conscience.
Oh yeah,
watching that conflict.
Yes, and him trying to decide, wrestling with his own conscience to decide what he should do for Pinocchio. Yeah, that was good. I think that was probably my favourite part of the film. The most interesting bit was Jiminy Cricket being the conscience. It made me think about responsibility, because we see him very much as I guess he's a hobo, right? He's a sort of happy-go-lucky, not really tied down to anything, wearing his old rags and stuff. Yeah. But then as soon as he is given the responsibility of being Pinocchio's conscience, he changes everything. His character really does change. He's no longer looking out for himself. He really feels the responsibility keenly, and at that very moment he gets these proper rich clothes. He develops so much just because he knows he's got something to something to live for now. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. I wouldn't have immediately juxtaposed that against about responsibility. Yeah, no, I wouldn't have thought about that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Just made me think about how that this does happen with people. They sort of step up when they need to. And it's interesting seeing how that happens. And he really came into his own at that time.
Still living on bloody handouts from that fairy, though.
Yeah. He still made some bad decisions. He didn't tell Geppetto when Pinocchio went away to be an actor, because that was telling. I thought that was a really terrible message to send to children. Oh, that's nice. Okay. I've got I know snooch. I really hope he gets to school, I've written. That's a nice thought, isn't it? Oh. Never did get to school.
What a wasted thought.
Yeah, I wanted him to get to school.
Yeah. But
I think that's what made it feel like a bad dream.
Couldn't walk his new Santa school. What are you going to do?
I guess he didn't feel he had to because he lived in a safe little village, but we
just
know
assumed
better.
His son would find the school with no directions or knowledge of the outside world.
His newborn child knows literally nothing about anything.
I got another clock to carve, you piece of shit. Get out of here.
Yeah, he'd been like, what's sleep? He's like, well, you just walk to school. I'm sure it'll be fine. Jiminy Cricket was played by Cliff Edwards, who looks like he was white.
Yeah, but also played one of the crows in Dumbo.
Oh, that's interesting. Oh.
Played Dandy Jim Crow, apparently.
Oh, that was the sort of leader, right?
Okay, so I've not seen Dumbo as an adult, because if that's like Jim Crow was a pretty awful person.
Oh, Jesus, yeah. I mean...
yeah, sorry, that's a bit mild.
Yeah, he's never named in the film, but people refer to that character as Jim Crow, which of course is a black, like a negative black stereotype for anyone who doesn't know. But I think there's some suggestion that that's what the writers were going for. And I think it's even been suggested that the animators referred to him as Jim Crow when they were working on him. Yeah.
Oh. There might be something in that, though, that they cast an actor who they got to portray this terrible black stereotype to do Jiminy Cricket. Yeah. And, so they maybe were kind of coding his race in a way.
Yeah, maybe he was supposed to be black.
Sucks to be that actor. I mean, that actor's obviously... You've got some reckoning to do, don't you? Jeez.
Well, I'm guessing he slept all right. Don't think people worried too much back then, did they?
I'm sure they didn't. Imagine you're the one guy that they go to if they don't want to hire an actual black person.
Yeah. So I think the rest of the crows in Dumbo were black.
Oh, were they?
But the leader was white.
Yeah, I guess so. I think the leader was an established voice actor, and the rest of them were they were a singing group. I think they were a gospel choir of some kind.
Okay. It looks like not Jim Crow. Oh God, the actor who played Jiminy Cricket. It looks like he was a singer and musician as well.
Yes.
In real life.
Yeah, there we are. If we ever do watch Dumbo, I'd be interested in talking more about all that, because it's quite a complex scene with a lot going on in it. Yeah.
Oh, I never want to see Dumbo ever again.
Oh, I think Dumbo for me is in the same place, which is parts of it are really distressing and frightening, but also I absolutely loved it, and I still love it now. And I have seen that recently, and really good film in a lot of ways.
Every single moment just breaks my heart.
Yeah, it's a really heartbreaking film.
Oh, God, it's awful.
Every single moment.
Every single moment, from the beginning to end, I'm just floods of tears.
It is. There are probably 2 or 3 films that reliably make me cry, and Dumbo is one of them. Maybe we should pick that.
Oh, God.
Right. Well, I'll hold off. I think I'm out of symbolism.
Yeah, me too. That's all I had.
I did not like. I'm sorry. I did not like the name. Well, I guess to me, Pleasure Island, and in fact, what made it so bad is that I thought that they were not being sold into slavery. Rather, it was just, I guess, adults gathering children because they were abusing sexually of them. And maybe that was because I've been reading about, I guess, child sexual abuse. And to me, the person that was buying the children very much looked like a person that would sexually abuse children. And the fact that the place was called Pleasure Island, I don't know. I really, it really made me feel uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. I also, I guess this is not symbolism, but because we were running out of time, I also do not like the fact that Geppetto had a gun in his house and that it was shown. I guess that this film included a gun. I thought it was very inappropriate to have one.
Because it's a small children's film.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I think you might be onto something with that Pleasure. That is really disturbing. I could see that.
Yeah.
That's just the kind of symbolism that they would weave in. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I need to watch it again. I need to watch this film 5 more times to pick up on all the things that we've talked about.
It felt dark enough, didn't it?
In fact,
he did look like a massive pedo.
I'll share with you a post, a podcast from the New York Times precisely that deals with this, and I was thinking about that episode of that podcast precisely.
Okay,
thank you.
I'd like to read that. Oof. It's interesting what you say about the gun. I don't know if certainly Claire and I watched this on Disney Plus in the end, and Laura, I think you did as well.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
So you'd have seen the big warning as it started saying, contains depictions of tobacco. As if we were meant to go, oh, well, my son's not watching anything with tobacco in it. And then the guy pulls out a gun and they're kidnapping children and selling them into slavery and all this stuff. But, tobacco. I thought it was interesting that everyone was smoking all the time, but they didn't quite seem to have an idea of, like, they were so inconsistent, like that they obviously made it so clear smoking is bad. The kids smoke the cigars, that's a bad thing to do, they get sick, they turn into donkeys, same with the alcohol, because it's a bad thing to do. But also Geppetto's smoking his pipe right at the start, and he's a lovely, and he's smoking it in bed, like the number one place you must not smoke anywhere that you smoke. Smoke anything, smoke anywhere, but don't smoke in bed just as you're drifting off, for goodness sake.
Well, maybe
I thought that was odd.
No, please. Sorry.
No, that was all I was saying. I thought it was odd.
Well, I think that maybe that has to do with growing up, as in many adults just tell children not to smoke when they are just blatantly smoking in front of children. And I think that there's a contradiction between you actually smoking and then you teaching someone, I guess a child, not to smoke, just telling them because it's just wrong. So maybe it's wrong for children to smoke, but then it's okay for adults to make their own decisions.
Oh, that's something, isn't it?
If you're a kindly old Italian man, then you can smoke in bed.
Yep. That's what it comes
and have
down
a
to.
gun.
We have to remember he had Figaro to keep an eye on things as well. If he had fallen asleep while he was smoking, the cat would have sorted things out.
That's true.
Maybe Figaro was his conscience.
Oh, wow. I love that. So last thing I wanted to mention, did anyone else notice that Figaro was eating a fish?
Yes.
In front of like smiling and waving at Cleo in her bowl. Like, how horribly inappropriate is that? Was that meant to be a joke?
No. Or I did not think so, but I guess I really liked that. I was like, yes, I'm glad that they're doing this, because like so many people with different kinds of diet just share one table in real life, and some people might not like what other people are having, but then we all share at the same table, and we're okay with it.
Do you know what? I've started watching Hannibal recently, and I don't think I can agree with that logic.
I see what you mean, Fernando. That's a really nice way of looking at it. They're still friends, even if they, cats eat fish.
Yeah,
gotta happen.
So that's related to something I had noticed, which is that the whale, he's like this evil, horrible thing, and all the fish are really scared because he's going to come and eat them all. But then as soon as the fish are inside him, it's completely alright for Geppetto to be fishing for them and eating them, and that's okay. But when the whale eats the fish, he's evil and horrible, but when humans do it, well, it's just fun, isn't it? I'm so glad he's got loads of fish now. The whale's done its evil thing.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and I think I wouldn't be bothered, except that the film was so clearly, well, I guess the phrase we would use is moralising. It was very clearly telling us what the right and wrong things are to do, and it tripped over itself, and it was inconsistent.
And the whale was male.
Typical,
bloody typical. Just on the, I know we have to go. We've only got 2 minutes, but.
Yeah.
Are there any Disney films that have more than 5 villains?
Oh.
This one had 5 villains.
I guess Peter Pan, there's the whole crew of pirates.
I suppose. But they're not really like individual villains.
Yeah, we're not counting all the people who
crowds
were roughing the donkeys around or anything like that.
Yeah, 5 named villains.
That being said, I don't think the donkey man had a name.
He must have had a credit, though. Like a voice actor. Was.
Anyway, I'll look it up. Shall I play the music? Since we have to go. What are you up to, Michael?
My conclusion, by the way, is that I liked this film.
Oh, sorry.
I thought this was good. There were a lot of problems with it, but a thumbs up.
I'll give it a thumbs up as well. Why not?
There's a lot of thoughts. Yeah.
No, I did not like the film.
Yeah. Thank you for having so much to say about it. In that case,
I was so interested, but I still did not like the film. Yes, and. Great. I guess that I would like my children not to watch it, but then at the same time, I want them to watch whatever they want to watch. So I will not encourage them to watch Pinocchio, but I would be okay if they watch it.
Brilliant.
Oh, you'd be a great uncle. Yeah. Right.